A party every night. Game on, party on. Tell me who you're gonna be. That's all I want. We are young, things will be fine. Danger comes. I lead in the trance tonight. We are young, things will be fine. Danger comes. I won't hide, let's just go. Party
This is how we be talking our session. One family, that's how we presenting. We got fans from all over the world and come together and we show them how we do it. Full team, fight for justice. We all gon' make it worth it. We gon' fight for the purpose, fighting the evil with crystal right. Come and battle, let's hit the next. Come and battle. I'm a real game right where I'm from. We party, play, sunny face, mobile legends, cover. Enemy rampage, enemy double kill. Killing spree. You destroyed a turret. You have slain an enemy. Killing spree. Double kill. Triple kill. An ally has been slain. Enemy killing spree. Wait, what? You custom car exactly the way you imagine your time. Here. And even when you're in bed.
Wait, what?
Yes, just download the Udo app and customize your mobile plan exactly the way you want it. circumstances.
Wanna take a bite?
Get it. This trapped in a dangerous pit. They both felt a feeling within their hearts. They quickly patched the food.
Ow! Huh? You saved me? I think I just found myself a new. Apple and Koopa are the best. Whoa! Ally has been slain. Ally has been slain. Ally. Ally has been slain. Double kill. Enemy dominated. Enemy has been double kill. An enemy has been slain. Enemy has been slain. Double kill. An enemy slain. Killing spree. The enemy has slain the turtle. An enemy has been slain. An ally. Enemy triple kill. Double. Ally has been slain. Enemy double kill. Enemy triple kill. Enemy maniac. Wiped out. You have slain an enemy. You have slain an enemy. An enemy has been slain. Double kill. It's time -10.
This situation is critical. Your data doesn't work.
Check pressure. It can't stop now.
4, 3,
Okay, get ready.
1, launch!
Game on! Party on!
First blood! You have slain an enemy! Blood stretches far and wide. Our turn. Ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Triple. Your team
Ayan.
destroyed a turret.
Yan.
You have slain an enemy.
Rian.
You destroyed a turret. An enemy has been. You have slain an enemy. An ally has been enemy. All the way. Killing spree. Double kill. Monster kill. Triple kill. Wiped out. Maniac.
Kesalahan 53 begini 5767.
MPL-MY Season 5 is getting closer and closer. It's now Game 2 of playoffs, and the battles are getting more intense as 3 teams will have to face elimination. Other 3 teams, however, will continue their journey to the third playoff. In yesterday's battles, we had to bid farewell to Axis Esports, our season 2 champions, and Team SMG, who failed to break their lower bracket turn in the playoffs. And now, with 6 teams remaining. Tirelessly for the season champion title, we have Resurgence, Geekman, Team Boss, Boss SG, Orange Esports Reborn, and Todak. Starting off from the lower bracket, we have Orange Esports Reborn versus Team Boss. Orange Esports Reborn, led by CeeLo, managed to eliminate his old teammates and qualify to the next round. This proves that CeeLo is the ultimate MPL player amongst them. Meanwhile, Team Boss dropped to the lower bracket after an intense battle with Resurgence. Experience-wise, Boss would definitely have their advantages over Orange, but comparing their skills, who can take the win? Next up, we have the remake of MPL-MY Season 4 Grand Finals, Todak versus EVOS SG. Todak never had the chance to seek revenge in the regular season, but now, will they finally be able to take out EVOS? Meanwhile, looking at EVOS SG's performance yesterday, Geekman's relentless pressure cost EVOS SG a clean loss of 2-0. Is EVOS SG prepared enough to face Todak today? Moving on to the upper bracket, we have the Slayer, Resurgent versus Geekman. This is the last step to move forward to the finals. And keep in mind that both are champions from previous seasons. The question is, who will secure this crucial game and get themselves that grand final position after day number 1 champion 5? Will the champions reclaim their title, or will there be a new crowned king amongst the veterans? Second day of MPL-MY playoffs. Let's go! What is up, beautiful people? Welcome Season 5 plus day number 2. This is for the MYSG region, and of course, it is brought to you by EGG Network and Munton, and it wouldn't be possible without our beautiful sponsor, our official digital telco, UDO. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us yesterday as we are closer one step to getting crowned for our champion of this season. Who's going to be the best in Malaysia and Singapore? This is day number 2. More hype is right now as we're going to be experiencing 4 battles because we are left with a top 6 teams. As you guys saw in the video earlier, that 2 of our teams, unfortunately, we had to bid farewell to. And we'll be talking about that in a bit. But for now, it is time for myself to introduce who we have on the panel. My name is Faraz, and I'm going to be your host today. And on my right side right here, I've got the beautiful Terrence and Husky. How are you boys?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, I think it's safe to say MPL-MY for Season 5 is the most stacked and the most stacked one we ever had. We had 4 past champions all in the playoffs, and we're going to witness all of them play today. I can't wait for the game to start, honestly.
Yeah, definitely as well. It's insane, you know, to see how close it is, to see all these teams just fighting all the way here. And I feel like this season is definitely one of the toughest seasons we're going to ever see here. However, let's take a look at the bracket so far. For those of you who missed out from yesterday's matches, here you can see Resurgence already advancing in towards the semi-finals. Same goes for Geekman. Orange Esports Reborn going up against Team Boss School is going to be our first match for today. This is a match that I'm looking forward to here. We're going to see veterans with new bloods going head to head, and I think like Orange Esports has so much potential coming into this MPL, and I'm really surprised by their playstyle here for us.
Yeah, 100%, and exactly what you mentioned. But for me, I would say honestly, I'm looking forward to Todak and EVOS because Husky, can you imagine? This is a rematch of last season's grand finals, and we're having it in the lower brackets.
Yeah, exactly. And last season, you know, EVOS beat Todak in the group during the group stage. EVOS beat Todak again. So technically speaking, they have a 2-0 clean record. And if somehow EVOS actually manage to pull this off, not only they eliminate Todak, but they get a triple crown over the record against Todak.
That's right. And our last match is going to be Resurgence and Geekman, the top dogs in this season. These guys are the top in Malaysia and Singapore, arguably, and no one can actually predict who is going to win, alright? It's going to be the hardest prediction we're going to make, but we're going to do it. But just to give props to SMG and Axis, of course, for coming in all the way into the playoffs. Unfortunately, we have to bid farewell, but we hope to see them again next season. But you know what? It's time to talk about what's going to happen here today. So boys, what are your expectations? You weren't here on the panel yesterday, you're here today. What do you expect to see in the games?
Just straight up craziness. We are getting best rematches. We're getting the best teams. Honestly, I cannot tell you which matchup I look forward to the most because all of them are equally important. But we do have a profile video coming up for the teams, especially for the first matchup between Bosco and Orange Esports Reborn. So I guess we just take a look at it and see what do we know more about the teams.
Let's go.
Fire, man! We're talking about Bosco, the veterans, the most famous team arguably in the region. And we're talking about Orange, a new blood. Of course, they are led by CeeLo, who is a veteran, but the rest of the team, they're new. However, they're doing so good that they're technically in the same spot as Bosco right now in the lower bracket. So, Terrence, we didn't get your opinion. What are your expectations of today?
I don't know, like throughout the seasons here, I've never really made my Bosco now, but this is my first time ever that I actually like Bosco this season. Like, arguably, I feel like Bosco this season is the strongest they've ever been in all seasons, and I feel like my money's on Bosco.
I totally agree with you, man. Sorry, how's it going?
Oh yeah, Terrence Bosco, probably the most growth throughout this season. Orange Esports Reborn as well. They were quite a surprise because I was torn apart between SMG and Orange Esports, but at the end of the day, they kind of proved me wrong by making it to the top 6. So it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you guys. I feel like I mentioned this to Contra and Gideon yesterday, where these guys all mentioned that Bosco is the biggest threat because of how much they've improved. Right now, we got interviews from these teams, so let's take a look and we'll be back with more details. Let's go. What's up, beautiful people? We're of MPL is out and over. Of course, I'm bringing you another interview session by Yudu. Right now, I've got Orange Esports with me. We've got CeeLo and Mal. And so, I want to ask you this question. Should beat your old teammates Axis Esports confidently because it was a 2-0. How did you do it?
Saya dapat kalahkan Esports sebab saya kita orang dah
You guys are MPL score.
So esoknya kita orang prepare.
So what do you have to say to Bosco?
Untuk tim Bosco masa regular season korang dah kalahkan kita orang. So esok kita orang nak balas balik, nak kalahkan korang.
I'm here with Bosco. We got Zeno and Leisha. Zeno, you guys managed to take game number 2. Very strong comeback. How did you guys feel about that game?
So kita orang sangat berpuas hati lah untuk game kedua.
Saya pun tak tahu macam mana, kita orang just cakap masih boleh lah, boleh lagi, jangan mengalah.
So what about the third game? It was so sad to see because you guys actually had a very good start. What happened that you guys lost out in the third game?
Mungkin selalu overconfident lah. Sebab tu mungkin tu salah satu pengajaran juga untuk tim kita orang supaya di next game nanti kita orang kena perbaiki lagi lah.
Do you have anything you want to say to Orange Esports Reborn?
Jangan sampai kena 2-0.
Korang kena berjaga-jaga lah untuk melawan kami. So kita jumpa di lower bracket.
And a big thank you to the guys for giving us the time. Now, one thing I'll say is, because you guys remember the game yesterday, they won so confidently in game number 2 after the comeback, of course. Game 3, they started so well, right? They were like a completely different ball school. It was probably because of the hype they had, and they lost that out, so they said they were overconfident perhaps. Now, can Orange capitalize on this mistake today? That's my question.
I think
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I definitely agree. Both of these teams, they definitely can capitalize on the mistakes that Orange Esports, Moscow is going to be making. Orange Esports needs to capitalize on that. But currently, if Orange Esports has that momentum in this game, coming to this game, they got to be feeling good. And Moscow, for them to pick themselves out from a loss, it's not going to be an easy thing to do, especially in terms of mental-wise. But I don't know. Let's take a look at the picks here, because this is going to be the text for Team Moscow. This is their drafts right here. Sino with win rate of 50% on the Uranus. My favorite hero, unfortunately to say, I'm pretty sure you hate the Uranus.
I love Uranus, dude. What are you talking about? This is like the best tank right now. Okay, Uranus is the tank with a lot of loss, but technically you can survive longer if you manage to handle your stacks pretty well. I love Uranus, man. Don't even have that conversation.
I guess I'm the bad guy here. It's not to say I don't like Uranus. It's just it gets to a point where his playstyle is so streamlined and generic. Sometimes it gets boring watching Uranus, but you can't argue that. You cannot deny the fact that he is a really good pick. It fits into a lot of team comps, in all of them in fact. But the Orange Esports Reborn, the top picks, you have Mum on the Cho, pretty obvious. Grango and Sino on the Jawhead, Chagbo on the Valier, Aaron with the Sicilian, and of course Mao on the carry. Fun fact for about these two teams, their record throughout the regular season has almost always been a consistent 2-1, be it a loss or victory. So you can kind of say that they have the tendency to drop the ball somewhere throughout a best of 3. So it could go either way.
That's actually a very good point. I feel like what we can know from both of these teams is that if they go down, they're not going down without a fight. And if they win, they're not going to be winning confidently. So it's going to be hard to predict which of these teams can actually do it really well. Right now, we're going to be taking a look at the featured players right here. So Terrence, who do we have?
Well, we have Lexia from Team Moscow, and we have also from Orange Esports, and both their featured players, their heroes are actually Bruno and also so these two players have exactly very similar playstyles, and throughout the regular season, both these teams play a really strong link in this game here, and I feel like it should be a Ling versus Ling matchup in coming from Team Moscow going from Orange Esports, because I feel like that's gonna be the first priority coming from both these teams, whether or not do they ban it or do they pick for themselves, because both these teams, they play really scary Ling, especially for Lexia and Mao, and I'm looking forward to see who is the better Ling player.
I think based on the games yesterday, we saw mostly marksmen from these guys. So I'm not 100% sure if we're gonna see the Ling. If we do, you're right, it's gonna be deadly. But just to talk about the two players right here, from the interviews, from talking to some of the teams, Mal is known as one of the better marksmen. I'm not saying it's better than Leisha, but you can see based on the stats as well. And that could possibly be because the team focuses more on him, you know, coming in from the hyper carry meta where everything's, you know, focused on the carry. So the team, if you watch the game today as well, Mal is the one getting all the kills in the game, whereas in Moscow, I feel like it's a bit more diverse. You know, the kills are being separated into different roles, and the goal is that Mal is a... I can't tell the difference. So I hope you guys know what I'm trying to say here, but it's Leisha and Mal, very big players in the team, if you know what I mean.
Definitely agree.
It's alright. Guys, I just want to let you guys know, for everybody watching us right now, because we're doing this online, sometimes so if we talk over each other, please forgive us. We're just trying our best, man. I love you guys, man. Okay. Alright. So right now, we're going to be doing our predictions, if I'm not mistaken, right here for the teams.
Okay. So, hello Silo dan juga Sino. You guys dua-dua nama lebih kurang. Hello? Okay. Sorry. Saya ingat ada masalah tadi. So, kita tak akan membuang masa sekarang. Kita akan memula dengan upper bracket yang Sino. Ada apa-apa you nak cakap kepada Orange Esports?
Nak cakap untuk tim Orange Sport, semoga berjaya lah untuk melawan kami.
Janganlah sampai sikit. Okey, tak apalah. You know dia confident. Dia antara player-player terbaik dalam Malaysia. Dia macam, okey, korang nak lawan kita orang, semoga berjaya. Dia tak payah cakap benda-benda lain. Dia bukan sebab dia malas nak fikir, tapi itu dia punya personality, dia humble. Dia cakap semoga berjaya. So kau Sino, kau siap kau je. Silo, ada apa-apa tak nak cakap untuk tim bos?
Untuk tim bosku, korang rasa macam mana exist biasa semalam?
Wah, hari ni pendek. Okey, tak apa. Korang menunjuk yang korang settle dengan cepat. So, Silo cakap korang bosku akan rasa apa yang bagian tu aku dah tak payah sambung lagi. Jadi korang semua faham. So, dekat bahagian Sino dengan Silo, nama dua-dua lebih kurang dan dua-dua bagi tim padat. Sino cakap gula pada Orange dan Orange cakap kita akan buat sama macam Exit. So, sekarang kita akan kembali berkas dengan Cortex dan juga Mamba.
Thank you so much, LaFell, as well, for that taunt.
You know, I like how they're very polite, very nice, but I feel like who has the blessing, like, you know, was holding it. But having a kid, it's one of the most amazing ever. Gives you all kinds of wonders. I speak from experience. My face is not but yeah, that's pretty much it.
You can't taunt when the baby's there. You can't be like spitting tears. You know
You know, you gotta be polite, you know? You gotta be polite. If not, they just catch out with all the dirty things and real toxic things.
I think you can still taunt, and it doesn't have to be dirty. It can just be, you know, intimidating. You know what I mean? But it's okay. So we might see some amazing taunts coming out after this. We don't know, but I do apologize before that. After this, we're gonna be doing our predictions on the panel. Make sure you guys let us know as well who you think is gonna win this matchup. So I'll ask you boys, who do you think is going to win?
I predicted from first. I think both teams are equally strong, but we had this conversation. Me and Terrence had this conversation right before the broadcast where we kind of agreed on the fact, at least for me, Bosco overall is still stronger than Orange Esports, and this is where I want to bring out a simple point where even though we can say that the marksmen have similar play style, but their distinct difference is Orange Esports, they ride on momentum. They are not as good as playing from behind, whereas that advantage because they were the first team to make a comeback against King Fan after being at a deficit of 15 minutes during the regular season, and I think that is a really good trade that will give Bosco the advantage over Orange.
And Terrence?
I definitely agree on that as well. I think Bosco has definitely one of the stronger in terms of experience. But let's take a look at what our actual predictions here. It seems to be all three of us are going to be voting on Bosco. It's quite biased here, but yeah, I think I want to bring up a point where also Orange Esports, they have the momentum where previously when they had the link here, it's always about Mao. I think just now you brought out that point as well for us, where Mao is always the one that carries the hyper. Always going to be him carrying the entire team. It's a well-rounded team. Sometimes you see Lexia performing, shining, carrying the team. Sometimes you do see Logan. Sometimes you see Zeno just playing out of line, and it's more like a well-done fight team compared to what Orange Esports is. Like, I'm not saying they can't make it, but because they've demonstrated they understand the new patch better than a lot of teams in terms of the goal changes, especially in the elimination bonus effect, where I think, like Husky did mention as well, where they don't really play behind, but one good team fight, man, they come back, they pick themselves up, and they're really good in that kind of situations, especially from I believe it was Chuck Wu, who's really good at just finding situations to turn tides. You know, he doesn't mind just throwing his body, just killing himself, and then just creating opportunities for Mao to just snowball ahead, which is beautiful to watch as well.
I think that was yesterday. Chaku, if I'm not mistaken, as well, that stole the Lord and gave the opportunity back. So you're completely right. And the thing about Orange is yesterday we underrated them. We were like, okay, Orange, because they might not have the experience, they might actually be able to, do a high skill play, but they managed to actually do it yesterday, so they proved us wrong. Now, We have something special for you guys. This is what you guys have been waiting for. I see your comments on YouTube. You guys want them skins, you guys want them codes. So this is how you're gonna get it. I ask you guys a question and you answer it in the comments, and we'll be picking the comments. Our beautiful moderators are gonna be doing that. So the comment for our first matchup, and I want Terrence and Husky to answer this question as well, is between Orange Esports Reborn and Team Boss Group, who do you think will be the MVP and why? I'm sorry, Terrence, you guys will not be getting this just for our amazing viewers, but you guys still have to answer the question.
MVP. This is a hard question. I think off the top of my head, I would say I'll be looking at Jet for Jet. I think he was kind of the I want to say the missing link, right, to Team Boss Group. They needed a leader, a family guy, you know, a father figure. That he kind of fits into that role, and he did demonstrate it. I think he got my attention when they won that one game against King Fam. It really showed how composed he was able to direct his team. So MVP, he just deserves it. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it, even as, you know, just a tank player.
Can I give like multiple answers? Can I give like multiple answers? No, I wouldn't give 10. I'll give 3. I don't give 10. I give 3. Is that okay?
You get 2. Yeah, 2.
Okay, fine. Bosco, I'll give it. I don't know. Bosco, it's like between Lixia and Logan, but Orange Esports is pretty much Mao. That's why it's 3. Like, if I were to choose from Bosco, Logan. Yeah, Logan.
And Mao from Orange, is it?
Yeah.
Alright, okay, so for everybody in the comments, you guys have to guess and also explain why. Make sure your comment stands out. That way it's easier for our moderators to pick it, so you guys will be picking out the winners. But for now, it is time to jump into our first game of the day. First matchup, Orange Esports Reborn on the red side and Team Boss Group on the blue side. This is going to be one draft to watch. So Husky and Terrence, let's see what we got in the bans.
Well, speaking of the bans here, we see Atlas being banned, Natalia as well being banned from Orange Esports. They're pretty much respecting the meta where the Assassin emblem is just a huge buff here, especially for the Bounty Hunter, where 40% gold just gives a lot. So it definitely, Mobile Legends Moonton is trying to incorporate the Assassin meta into this current patch, and I feel like both these teams prioritize this kind of picks here. Link is going to be not prioritized apparently for Bosco, so it's going to be the Uranus here. One of the strongest tank. I agree with Faraz, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I've already come to accept the fact that Uranus
you guys brought it up, right? Honestly, right, I don't think the Link is going to be prioritized. I mean, not to say I disagree with you. I agree Link is quite strong, but I feel like the team prioritizing it right. So, you know, maybe the pick or something. But right now you can see the picks from yesterday focuses on Natalia, Selena, Jawhead. Hamos is one of the highest picked as well. So probably going to see the Hamos and the Cho is another one of them. So it's mostly the fighters and the tanks that are actually being picked first.
Yeah, I wonder if Team Bosco would consider that Lolita, which is decent against Selena. If memory serves, they were the only team to pick Lolita in the entire MPL so far. It was played by Jen against King. Me and Ted talked about Halia.
Yeah, now seeing how that Orange Esports has like a double mage setup here, and they don't exactly have proper tanks to deal with here. They might be in some. Support Selena is great. It's pretty much. I don't think it's much damage as before. What kind of marksman or assassins they're going to be playing here? Because Orange Esports, they always prioritize picking their jaw hit, and it's always been able to capitalize on this. And yes, Faraz, you mentioned about Link not going to be prioritized and playing Liam synergy, and they've had jaw hit deal with Link so many times, and they have like they're just not a dog, and Bosco needs to just, you know, find a way to get in the minds of our esports and just counter off like, yeah, you're gonna pick a jaw hit, it's okay, you know, we have other heals to just do with you. And it seems to me, Esmeralda, okay, triple mage setup coming from Orange Esports. Wow.
Why not? They like to go for it. Let's see if we can pull it out. Dude, we saw a double marksman from D-Time yesterday. I doubt that we don't see any weird things. I think we're gonna see some amazing sort of new playstyles. So Sicilian's gonna be the first of this playoffs, if it is big.
Yeah, Sicilian is still. I don't know. I feel like if you're looking at Team Bosco's draft, but in this case, I think the Nana kind of complements their their playstyle, more team-orientated playstyle. So this definitely is kind of Team Boss Crew's identity. But for Orange Esports, this is where it kind of gets tricky, right? You have the Jawhead, the Selena. You're probably looking for someone. Okay, they lock in. I was looking for a more tanky hero, but I guess
I think for me, I prefer Orange's draft more. For Nana, I feel like that's gonna bring the aggressiveness slightly down. Because when you pick the Nana, of course, you probably playing a little bit more passive because you want to disengage who you have on the Orange's esports side. For me personally, Orange's draft. What about you guys? What do you think?
I'm thinking Bosco for myself. Just because they have much more opportunities to actually play. They can play split push very well. They can play team fights pretty okay. And Orange Esports draft is more team fight oriented rather than objective oriented. So that's my take on Bosco instead.
I have to go for Bosco. I have to favor Bosco for this game was draft. I think not to say Orange Esports has lost in terms of drafting and all. This draft for them is kind of more volatile, right? You are looking to fight early on. You're looking to win fights, but Team Bosco has a more robust composition, whereas like Terrence mentioned, they can play around objectives. They're not afraid to go late because technically they have one of the best late game carries in the game, which is the carry. Whereas for Orange Esports, if they fall behind, coupled up with the fact that they have not been, it's definitely going to favor Team Bosco a bit more.
I mean, I totally agree with you guys. It just comes down to the plays as well. I mean, there's maybe you can say that draft is 50% of the game. It's what sets the pace of the game, but it also comes down to the skills of the players and how much they can actually take on this and actually use it to their advantage. So, right as you can see, we are back here perhaps because of a small technical difficulty. Don't worry, we'll be back into the games very soon. We start analyzing them a little bit more. Just to remind all of you guys who are joining us again, Null TV, Stand By Me, Daniel, I do see you guys on YouTube. Keep them comments coming in, and if you guys don't know what to comment, it's very simple. There is a question that you guys have to answer, and this question is, between Orange and Bosco, now that you've seen the draft, which player basically do you think is going to be the MVP and why? Keep the comments coming whether you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, because after every game we'll be picking 5 winners, and each of these winners will be getting amazing skins. We did answer it on the panel right here, but it's up to you guys to decide right now. And this is one more thing, guys. Terrence Husky, of course, because we're doing everything live this time, we want to be even more generous. So the more people watching MPL, the more skins and codes we have for you guys. So make sure you guys share the stream as much as possible. Terrence, have you shared the stream?
Yes.
Husky, how about you?
Yeah, I have. The moment the link came out, I just shared it straight away.
But
I'm happy to hear that.
Are we gonna get it? Are we gonna get it?
So you both get your skins, alright? Right now, it's time for the game. Terrence and Husky, you guys are amazing casters, so hype it up as much. Oh, okay, alright. Well, let's come back to us for a little bit. I'll hype up the panel, and then I'll send you guys back into the game. Don't worry about that.
I like how the Todak pause is so infectious, especially now with all this lockdown. They have evolved into become a new pandemic for Mobile Legends right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday we were having there was a pause as well, and then I saw a lot of people commenting, and it wasn't even Todak's game. They were like, Todak pause. I'm like, bro, Todak wasn't even playing at that game. I was like, what are you talking about? This is like I really love it. There was one as well. They were like, okay, so we had one question, and this question was, which captain do you want to pick? Moon from Todak or Artha from SMG? And someone in the comments wrote, I pick Moon because he knows when to pause. I was like, I love the comments, and the comments are really fun. And you guys just keep the comments coming in. There's one thing I want to ask as well, because you know that the stream is being watched by many different countries, not just Malaysia, not just Singapore. We have Filipinos, we have people from Indonesia, from Myanmar. So wherever you guys are watching us from, go ahead and put your flag in the comments. If you can comment your flag so I can see where you guys are watching us from, because this is going to be a very colorful stream, boys.
Yeah, it's great to see, it's great to see, viewers from other regions tuning in as well. And I think this is also one of the ways where you watch, let's say, MPL Indonesia or MPL Philippines, and you kind of bring that knowledge back to your own region. It definitely does help with That's how with the domestic scene as well.
Yeah, definitely. I agree as well. Understanding play styles from different regions really helps a lot as well. I think M1 was a great evidence or proof for all of us that hey, different countries, different play style, different hero picks. We were watching Malaysia region all the time. We always like, oh, this hero. Going to M1, a surprise box here. Top 4 is 10-second gaming, you know. But however, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be jumping into a game 1 now. Boss Cool going up against Esports, and Faras, I have to bid you goodbye for 1 game. See you for a bit.
Don't worry. I'll be right here watching you guys.
Oh man, this is finally, you know, like waited long enough for the playoffs, but instantly a flicker. But your power nature, Chuck will get caught out. Flicker from Sino. Trying to catch this Selena out, but they were able to get out of range, so no casualty just yet for Orange Esports.
Yeah, and as of now here, Boss Cool, they're gonna be making sure Hyper Strat is gonna be playing this meta here. There's been a lot of debates here that Hyper Strat is not gonna be very much strong with this meta, but we shall see. You know, whether or not Boss Cool commits this here, but Sino almost getting paid with his life, but actually his lows coming from Chaku. Nice stacks here coming, denying Sino of that first to go out of control, and because of that, Orange Esports, they are gonna be in the lead right now.
Yeah, and I think this death is kind of warranted, right? You can argue that Uranus isn't even supposed to die, but at the same time, you're up against this 1-1 who is actually running the jungle emblem. So the highway penetration coming out, they just want to focus on shutting down this Uranus. Again, a flicker in, they get Jack, second kill onto this Uranus. So Team Bosco, they want to answer in the top lane, but Zelo, guys, flicker, they could not try, but Bosco.
They're coming from Orange. Out of lane and immediately takes a tier 1 kill. You hit here because between here, Husky.
We might see a clash. I think they definitely, but Zaraki is gonna get caught out by the unspoiled. They want to eject him. He does get the though, unfortunately not enough to get away. So you lose this Cho and you also lose the turtle control. Orange Esports reborn should be a bit comfortable. 5 seconds until the objective spawn. They just to kind of zone out the rest of Team Bosco. I think Bosco is not ready to fight. You kind of need to give time for this carry and Cho to come online.
Yep. At the time here, so they switch up the lanes here for Team Bosco, hoping the Uranus is going to be able to pressure the top side here. However, too easy for Jabs. He gets scouted out from Mob here with the Jawhead, opening up the map all by himself here, and it seems to be Orange Esports, they're going to be very, very similar to yesterday's game, having Mob to open up the map and apply pressure throughout the entire game here, and hopefully they were able to get some kills. But as see Mao, he slowly leads the net worth. He's got pretty decent amount of farm for now, and pretty much Bosco is just gonna take a chill pill for now and hopefully buy enough time for the rest of the team to get stuff farm.
Yep, they can definitely do that. And again, this time round number 3, Zeno managing to get out of range of the attack, but you did bring out the fact of hyper carry meta not being that relevant. I think it's still doable, just that there are more ways to work around it as well. Get that first turtle to easy to the party, so the team was able to secure anything off of that.
Driven right now here, but it feels like they're just always one step behind here. 4 minutes has passed, and where they need to make more. In this case, round number 4, this time Zeno will be alive for now, and Orange Esports putting a little bit of time. However, right now you can see Zaraki trying to go here. Zeno, nothing gonna be happening here, but the front lines, are they gonna go for the dive here? Going for the hit, so dropping very low. They can't seem to finish him off, and Zaraki dropping HP in a small skirmish, nothing too much, but Jabs, is he gonna go check it out there? So close.
It has breath to get out of that situation. Almost getting a kill to Zaraki. A great purify from Zelo. And even though they were not able to, kill Zelo round 3 and 4, but one of the ways to deal with him is you either kill him early on or you just take away, give him less room to work with. So there's no, despite the fact that it's a really good tank, a lot of damage, can fight, can crowd control. If you don't give the space, he basically just becomes someone who preoccupied with trying to make a space. And this Jawhead is going to be a big H2. It's getting flickers on with the Dragon. He takes some turret shot, but they have the damage, so that carry will get the kill.
Nice Zaraki committing his flicker as well, just to pick up Jawhead. And Mom's Jawhead has been a thorn in their heads here. But in this case, now Jeff's almost getting paid with his life here. Will they actually bet Aaron? Right? They're actually going to commit here to get Jeffs here from Orange Esports, but they overextended this. Now Bosco, they're going to punish them, and that's going to be a double kill for Lexia with the hyper carry. And this looking good here. Orange Esports, they had the lead. Now they just. This is huge goal. And Orange Esports always look the big like they were able to salvage the situation, but now triple available on Lexia here can carry out of control team boss Orange, but they need to find a way to shut down. Seems to me they're to catch this carry off. However, that is slow and boss here so they push waiting for target. They have to is he gonna go on this engagement, but instead the sides gets a pick off and it's a big Lexia got a kill in the bag. Yeah, Saki is fighting isolated kill. I was about to point out Mom is a big problem, but apparently not, as Logan manages to flicker away so Cito doesn't get the kill. But yeah, I wanted to bring out the fact that Mom can be a thorn in the side, but unfortunately that was not the case because the solo Chapu, Orange Esports, they are playing on a timer. They need to win all these fights, but that one overcommitment in the middle lane has led to this avalanche where Team Bosco were able to recover slowly but surely. So without a goal lead for Orange Esports, they are not going to be in a good position for the rest of the game. Yes, they definitely need a couple of solid fights here, hoping that Mao gets a little bit more kills here, but one hit is delivered. Offset up on Lexia. You saw how quick was destroyed in that engagement. Got out here from Zaraki and taking an opportunity here with turtle bomb because that kill before the reset to be Orange Esports that gave it the here and hoping he will sort of catch him. You know, just so much reach. Once again, they miss another kill opportunity. Unfortunately, to be effectively to now sitting in a pretty comfortable position. Gio can just buy as much time as he please. Sure, you lose the top tier 2, but try to collapse Orange Esports. The season Johi ejector trying to go for the saves, and seems to me Orange Esports they are low. Jeff's the flicker as well. He's gonna go for ejector. Paid with his overcommitment from Boss of Aaron. 1-4 comes and all out. All but the base coming in the center of these teams and crazy here. And you saw me. My last thought was that why is way purified. Unfortunately, you know, Bosco wanted to get was say, you know, they get to the 1-1. They would
100%. Before we again, our apologies for us here. I just want to remind you guys, it is not that we pause really because of issues that I'm sure you guys like internet went through that. So we try to as soon as possible. So we do apologize. We'll be back with the game shortly. Let's talk about the game. So I did tell you guys that I prefer Orange's draft, and because it's more, and honestly, it was true early on in the game. They did have the lead over. That's on the giant, and even now you can see in terms of Mom is doing a very it sounds very nice every time, but doing a very good job catching off kills either on her own because the own is Leisha. Had 2 advantage compared to leader in the game, so how late is she gonna come in, and is she gonna be impactful in the game? That's the question.
I think it comes down to the position, right? Like Uranus online timings when as you hit your level 4, you get your ultimate, he comes online, and that was pretty much demonstrated from the 2 kills where Orange Esports were able to kill Sino twice in a row before he hits the level 4. Uranus is online, which brings to the Esports is gonna get even more desperate because 1-1 need more damage to actually penetrate the armors coming picks on stick job right now coming from Orange Esports.
Yeah, 100%. I think. Sorry, what's up? You go first.
Like I from what I perceive against how teams do with damage, magic damage, or you just push down the is in so that he's forced somewhere else. I forgot which game was it in the regular season where the team going up against the Uranus, they proxy the lane. That also stops the Uranus from pushing a turn because there's no minion wave. So this kind of 3 ways to deal with Uranus. Orange Esports were not relentless enough. Kind of understandable, right? They needed to bring like the Harry off his arena, but Harry needs his farm. However, because of and they need to win more fights. Opportunity for them to win fights, decrease team competition.
Esports, they've lost 3 members early on, and because that team was more their way through here, and I like how that Orange one gonna proc crossbow all the way through, just because of how Moscow's frontliners is so easy to allow him to actually proc his Osprey was in a situation where this kind of heroes, because Grok, the issue here is that, yeah, so what? 1-1 is not as crazy as carry, because carry's percentage over time is just like this timer before 6 item comes out, before potions display. If not, esports, which but and to compare, always when the becomes more effective, proven only 140% mechanic. Mal has to put himself in a fight. Like rather damage is to so she time where he compared to a so this 1-1 will be left on.
I think they did have the early start, and it's not technically over for them. Honestly, they can. They do have that has Salim. If you pick offs in the right, just a few. Usually kill. I do. There's just anything.
Yes.
And honestly, it's okay. It's